Purchasing power is the amount of goods and services your money can actually buy. It's not always about how many dollars you have, it's about what those dollars are actually worth in the real world. In this video, I want to talk about how you can protect your purchasing power, as well as some things that are hurting your purchasing power. The first thing I want to talk about is that money is just a tool. It has no inherent value itself, and money is valuable because people trust it and accept it for an exchange of goods or services. And purchasing power and wealth is measured by the access you have to resources, not by the number displayed in your bank account. A good example of this is, would you rather have $100,000 today or $100,000 100 years ago? And everyone would pick the 100 years ago example, because each dollar went further and you could get more goods and services for each dollar. And you can see this difference through a bunch of different industries like college and tuition, housing, or even vehicles. And a lot of people's grandparents often remember paying a fraction of the price for those goods compared to today. When a lot of people talk about purchasing power, the first thing they jump to is inflation. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of people reduce their purchasing power from poor financial decisions. And yes, inflation does gradually raise prices, but if a lot of your money is heavily invested, it is probably beating inflation. Some other things that reduce your purchasing power is taxes. It reduces your income. High interest debt often transfers your purchasing power to lenders. Lifestyle inflation can also cause spending to increase alongside your income, which reduces your purchasing power. And there's a lot of fees and unnecessary depreciation that quietly reduce long-term wealth. And a big one I see is opportunity cost, the future value of the money you spent today. A lot of these are attributed to people's decisions that they make in their own life. A good example of this would be two people that make the same salary, but one of them lives very frugally while the other always has the nicest stuff on the block. And that person that's living frugally is investing. Now, on paper, they might both have the same purchasing power, but one person is stacking a bunch of assets. Therefore, their purchasing power is actually higher. One of the most effective ways to protect your purchasing power is to own assets rather than relying on an earned income. And this is where the big difference between assets and owners comes up. I've made a video about this in the past as well. Businesses, stocks, real estate, all potentially generate an income and appreciate over time. And within ownership, you're able to participate in economic growth rather than simply paying for it. So imagine your area starts blowing up. Maybe you lived in the middle of nowhere and now all the people are moving in and starting businesses and things like that. Prices are generally going to rise. And if you don't own anything, then you're the one paying for it to rise. Whereas if you own 5 apartment complexes, then you're the one making the money off the economic growth in the area. Another thing I want to talk about is your career being an asset. A lot of the times I think human capital is overlooked in terms of wealth. People nowadays have specialized skills that make them able to earn a great income. And you see this a lot now with AI and technology. Even outside of AI and technology, there's people that are great at sales or negotiating, and those skills are so in demand nowadays, they're able to make a great income from those, which helps them protect their purchasing power. A real world example of this, there are 2 accountants. Both have been working as an accountant for 20 years. One of them is up to date on all the AI and new technology, and the other is not. The one that is up to date is able to make more money and protect their purchasing power just because they're constantly learning. Another thing that hurts purchasing power is opportunity cost. Every dollar you spend today is something that you choose to not purchase or invest in the future. There's a difference between productive purchases and consumer purchases. One of them delays gratification and helps you build long-term wealth, while the other one maybe just, helps you get something that you wanted in the moment. And sometimes these consumer purchases are financed, and that crushes your purchasing power. If you make $300,000 a year and you spend $310,000 a year because you have everything financed and you just have no, liquidity every month, you're just living paycheck to paycheck, you're worse off than someone making 70 grand a year, and that saves $10,000. One thing that can help protect your purchasing power is investing. The earlier you start, the longer you have to compound your money. And these small, consistent decisions that you make with investing tend to outperform occasional, large decisions in your life. And compound growth has historically rewarded long-term investors, though the returns are not guaranteed. And the earlier you're able to start investing, the longer you have for your money to compound, which increases your purchasing power. And history kind of demonstrates what happens when purchasing power collapses. Many countries have gone into hyperinflation or currency devaluation, where there's just a total loss in confidence in the nation's currency. You've seen this in Zimbabwe, or Venezuela, I believe, had it as well, where it's $1 million for a loaf of bread or something. It's cheaper to just burn the money than buy oil or gas to make a fire. So practical ways that we can protect our purchasing power are to maintain an emergency fund for unexpected expenses. Avoiding high interest debt is also a great thing to do. Continue to increase your earning potential, whether that's learning new skills or getting up to date with new technology. Should be investing for personal goals, risk tolerance and that sort of thing, while diversifying your portfolio. Keeping your lifestyle inflation under control as well is a great way to keep more money in your pocket. I think you should be regularly evaluating your financial decisions and looking at their long-term impact, whether it's good or bad, and changing those behaviors. I think if you do these things, you're able to protect your purchasing power and really set yourself up and, help yourself for the future. Your financial goal should not be simply to accumulate more dollars. It should be to increase the amount of freedom and opportunity those dollars can provide throughout your lifetime. That's just my opinion on this topic. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.